first and foremost, thank you for joining us today. This is our PEG Access Board meeting. After that, at 6 o'clock, we'll be having our planning economic development meeting. So we're going to try to get through these 2 items we have on our agenda as quickly as possible. With that said, can I have a roll call from our staff?
Valloran.
Here.
Zamer.
Here.
Clark is absent. We have quorum, though.
Okay, we've got quorum for our meeting. First thing on the agenda is Ordinance 24125. So this ordinance is unfortunate reality that we now have, that the College of St. Rose is no longer with us. And the College of St. Rose was one of our standing committee members for the PEG Access Board. But we do have the State University of Albany that is open and willing to take their place. So that's the first ordinance we're going to be discussing. But before that, public comment. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
We have Keith Irish.
Okay, thank you. Can Kate join us? Kate, we're going to ask if you can keep it to 3 minutes, please, just because we're going to try to get through this meeting as quickly as possible. You got a 5-minute speech? Okay, I'll give you the 5 minutes. Sounds good. Thank you. Okay. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the Ad Hoc Public Education Government Access Committee and other attending council members. Okay. My name is Keith Irish, a lifelong city resident, mostly in what is now the 9th Ward. I am here today to comment on the 2 items that are on the agenda. But first, I would like it to be known and recorded by Corporation Council members present that this is an illegally held meeting, as there was not the required 10 working days notice. This meeting's notice was posted on Facebook last Tuesday at 2:43 in the afternoon, just 7 calendar days ahead and not even close to the minimum required 10 working days. As such, I am protesting this meeting, but will continue my comments. First, on Ordinance 2.41.25, introduced 4.5 months ago and just now being considered for review, yet the legislative director stated back on March 20th, 2025, that this position has been empty for a year. This ordinance provides for the changing the former College of St. Rose position on the Public Education Government Access Oversight Board of an oversized 11 positions to this position to now being filled with a representative from the University of Albany. Personally, I do not object to this change, as UAlbany has several media courses and outlets that could be useful for them as well as the City of Albany. But what I do object to is that this committee continues to ignore the need to reduce the size of the PEG-AOB to a manageable 7 voters, as I have several times in the past have recommended at similar meetings. There is nothing wrong with non-voting stakeholders or non-voting community partnerships assist with Albany's community media cable access channels, but there is absolutely no reason there should be voting members. You should be concentrating on reducing the size of the PEG-AOB, changing the member terms to be staggered and be geared towards city-only residents and program producers to be appointed, as they are the day-to-day users of the production facilities and would know best as to the needs of the 3 channels. Most of the current members do not have a working knowledge of operational needs. The 2 positions from the lame duck mayor have also been vacant for almost a year for one of them, and since June for the other, with no insight attempt to fill them. These are priorities that should be your priorities, so I recommend that you work on this before the end of this year and include the need for additional funding, staffing, utilization, and promotion of the community media channels to the residents. Now on to the second item on the agenda, an interview for a board position. Besides this being an illegally notified meeting, this interview is also illegal as there was no call for applications issued for the position. As previously stated, just because of the possibility of a current position holder may be interested in renewing their appointment, it is in the best interest to you, the Common Council, to have the best persons appointed to the board, and as such, you should be always issuing a CFA to the public, including the current holder, so you can select the best possible candidate to appoint. Part of this procedure would include assuming the current person is still interested, that person be asked what they have accomplished since their last interview, and if items didn't get done, why they didn't. As with any other board appointees, you would want the best persons for the positions. I hope you are also aware that another of your appointees is hopefully will be resigning soon as well, due to a real-world work change that can create a conflict of interest. I will also like to add that I have been applying to get appointed to the PEG board for longer than any of you have been on the council, and I will continue to apply, including via the mayor openings. And board meetings must also be held monthly on the same week and date and not skip the summer and moved around. Thank you.
Thank you, and I also appreciate you kept it in 4 minutes and 40 seconds. So I appreciate that. Thank you. You read it quick. I appreciate that. I do need to just state for the record that I did verify with our staff that this was properly notified. And that we also have a rolling application process so that anyone can apply for any of these, for this position at any time throughout the year. So those are the systems that we currently have in place in order to move forward with the mechanisms. So, as that said, let's move forward with Ordinance 24125. Any discussion on the ordinance? Councilmember Seamer?
No, it obviously makes sense. My only question is the member associated or one representative from SUNY that have they been identified?
I don't know. Has the board identified somebody from SUNY? Okay, so the board.
Okay.
And just for the record, I'm asking the current president of the PEG, Don Hyman, who's in the audience with us, and he's gesturing that yes, they have identified an entity with SUNY Albany.
Thank you.
Okay, with that said, can I get a motion for a positive to move Ordinance 24125 out of committee with a positive recommendation?
I'll make a motion to move Ordinance 2.41.25 out of committee with a positive recommendation.
Okay, I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so Ordinance 24125 passes out of committee with a positive recommendation. Okay, next we have an interview. I'm going to allow you to come and please tell us a little bit about yourself, and if you could please share your full name. I don't want to mispronounce it, so I apologize for that. Oh, can you turn the mic on?
Oh, press there, okay. Hello, my name's Omanike Akinyemi.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. Thank you for your interest in the board. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you've applied for these positions?
Sure. I am a filmmaker and dancer choreographer. So I've had a whole lifetime of experience making films and television programs. I have a sense of how public access television can be used for the benefit of people. I have worked at a public access station as a producer, creating original programming, and felt it was a very beneficial space to present my work and a place to grow and meet other creative people. So I want to really be a part of that growth here in Albany, and my experience in film especially has helped me understand what kind of equipment is needed for local producers to stay current, and I would say even a little bit competitive with what other producers are doing out there on YouTube and other mediums. So I really feel like I would make a strong contribution because of my film and television experience, and also my current level of participation in the community as a dancer and choreographer.
Okay, thank you. Questions from committee members? Councilmember Zaba?
Thank you, and thank you, I'm going to get this right, Ms. Akinyemi?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for your interest. Your resume is very impressive, and I will say I really look forward to seeing Emancipado, which says here that
yes.
they're hoping for release next year.
Yes.
And hopefully you'll be able to tell us where it's distributed and where we can see it
Yes.
when that happens. Yeah.
Definitely.
But that looks really exciting. I mean, and can you tell me a little bit about your experience at Albany High? I think that's really important. I know, I mean, my kids go to Albany High. One graduated. I went to Albany High. I know there's how much talent and interest there is there, and I'm just curious about your experience there and how you feel like you might be able to inspire students to participate.
Yes, I taught at Albany High for 4 years, so I know the institution very well and the student body. I think it's a wonderful place to grow interest. There are quite a few arts programs there, but students generally don't really think beyond TikTok as a place to present their work. So I would be interested in really trying to let those students know that they can show their videos that they're creating on their own or in classes on public access television. I think that would take reaching out to the current teachers there, though. I taught both dance and photography there, so I'm quite familiar with the kind of regulations of the program. There's not a lot of reaching out into the public, which is probably where, I might be able to help a little bit. But we do have quite a bit of connectivity with Youth Effects as well, so there are some local organizations that might also want to bring their student work. I would say Albany High, but also even some of the charter schools. And I have connected with them as I work sort of cross school these days, also with students in Schenectady.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So I see you have a lot going on, and that's great.
Thank you.
So my question is, how are you going to make sure you fit the commitment of being on the board, attending meetings, attending activities, while you juggle the other responsibilities and activities that you've already committed to?
I think I could fit it in because it is a priority of mine and something I've been trying to find a way to get involved in without having it becoming overwhelming with my other responsibilities. I think it would just be about knowing in advance when the meetings are and making time to make them on, a regular basis whenever they occur. Presently, I don't do a lot with public access, so I think it would be something I could also weave in other aspects of what I'm doing. Just to give you an example, I'm a member of the Student Dance Summit Committee, and in our meeting I suggested, why don't we have, our usual Student Dance Summit and videotape it and put it on public access? Wouldn't that be a nice other venue for our young choreographers? So I'm very excited about kind of weaving in other communities that I participate in through public access. I think that's very exciting.
Okay, thank you. I mean, for us as a council, that's one of the, we want to make sure that individuals, when they commit to these boards, they attend, make sure we have quorum to be able to do the business. So it's a question that always comes up in interviews. So thank you. Any other questions? No? Do you have anything else you'd like to share with us?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
I apologize. Do you have anything else you'd like to share with the committee?
Yes, just the excitement I had. Some years ago, I joined AmeriCorps and lived in Camden, New Jersey, and had the opportunity to participate in what's called PhillyCam, which is the Philadelphia version of the public access station. And I was so impressed by how they took education seriously and had throughout the year workshops for people to participate in and really update their skills. So even though I had already completely finished my, what I call film education, I enrolled in a few and was just really pleasantly surprised on how educating the local population on, let's just say, how to use a drone cam or something can spark creativity and create new content for public access. And I say content that's competitive, because people can go to YouTube to watch something else, but they would go to the public access stations and website if they knew that it had some really original, interesting content.
Excellent. Do you have any questions for us?
Sure. What is the station doing right now to promote education among people in Albany? I mean, in terms of the actual use of equipment or video editing and things.
I think there's always opportunity for growth. I think we have a lot of great partners within the PEG board and also within our school district to be able to find opportunities to be creative in finding new methods to help the young people learn these skills, as well as possibly be content creators for our programming. I agree with you. It shouldn't just be social media that they look at. There's other means that they can express themselves.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you again for taking the time to meet with us and applying for these positions. We do appreciate all your time. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, and with that said, I'd like a motion to go into executive session to discuss candidates for the PEG board.
I make a motion to move into executive session to discuss candidates for the PEG board.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Okay, so we are now in executive session. Due to executive session expectations, we ask that all members from the public please step out at this time. Okay, so now we've moved out of executive section. Okay. Thank you again for members of the public who stepped out and stepped back in. So now, as a committee, we are ready to move forward with a passive recommendation to move forward with Ms. Aganiki Yemi. And again, I apologize for mispronouncing the name, but we were very impressed with your resume, and we thank you for your willingness to serve. So, can I get a motion to move forward with the recommendation?
I move to move forward with
A favorable
a
recommendation.
favorable recommendation for the candidate. Can I name the candidate?
Yes, you can put the
Okay.
name, yes.
With Omonike Akinyeme, out of committee with a favorable recommendation.
I second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, so that's passed with unanimous consent. Seeing no further business for our PEG Ad-Hoc Committee, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, our PEG Access Committee is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Okay, so now we're going to go straight into our Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting. Welcome, everybody. So can we have staff please do a quick roll call for us?
Ballerin,
Here?
Hoey,
Here.
Adams, Clark, Zamer,
Here.
4 present.
Okay, excellent. Thank you all for joining us today. Today we have local law G of 2022. We are mainly discussing the part of it that has to do with the alternate members to the zoning board of appeals and the planning board, as well as the historic resource commission. So this was something that what we did a few years ago was we split this from the original bill because this we wanted to move forward with the other part of the bill, and we held this because there were some concerns from members regarding the alternative, having alternative members on the board. So with that, I'm going to ask our Director of Planning if he'd be kind to come and give us your opinion. You've also should have received a letter from Councilmember Conti. It should be on your desk as well, sharing some of his concerns that he has with this bill. Brad, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you calling this up again. Give us another opportunity to discuss. So I still support the proposal for alternates. I'm happy to look into it further. I did receive Richard Conti's comments and had seen them before. And I did try to throw together some responses today as to how I see some of that playing out. You know, again, the two benefits for the alternates, the one is obvious. If we don't have a quorum for a meeting, we can't host a meeting. Boards meet once a month, so they can't meet. That's a particular project that gets pushed back at least a month, and also it's inconvenience for everyone that had made arrangements. In some cases, we have projects, people are coming from out of town to attend these meetings, and they have to turn around and go back, particularly if someone cancels at the last minute. That's not always the case. We do get cancellations that are known months ahead or weeks ahead sometimes, and then sometimes people are sick. We also have had some issues where, for example, from the BZA, we had a vacancy, or excuse me, we had a member out on maternity leave from April to September of '24. BZA, we had Board of Zoning Appeals, we had a vacancy from May to August '23. Martin Daly resigned because he became a city employee. In January to March '23, we had a vacancy on the BZA. Member resigned and moved out of state. We also have a vacancy currently on the HRC for someone that moved out of state. May to October 23, we had a vacancy. A member had to tend to his wife who was immunocompromised and didn't feel comfortable attending the meetings in person. Unfortunately, the remote conference rules for New York State changed, and he was not able to attend remotely. Paige Barnum recently resigned from the Board of Zoning Appeals so she could put her name forward to become a member of the Planning Board. And I think she was recently confirmed. So there's a process that comes with appointing new members, kind of ties into the other benefit I see to this is being able to confirm and have alternates go through the confirmation process ahead of time so that they're ready to go when someone does step down and we don't have a prolonged vacancy, because it's one thing when someone calls in sick or is on vacation for a particular meeting, But if that board is already down a member for a particular reason, that would, that further exacerbates the potential of not having a quorum. Just responding to some of Richard's comments, I do greatly appreciate his insight and thoughts on some of these. And certainly we could look into some of the other communities. I did do a quick look, and there are a lot of local communities that have alternates, at least for planning boards, Saratoga Springs, Troy, Schenectady, Colony, Niskayuna, Clifton Park, and Malta among them. The way I see it alternating would be, the member would be appointed for the particular meeting that another member was absent or couldn't attend. They wouldn't necessarily be appointed for a case. If that were the case, cases carry on for several meetings in some cases, so we would have potentially 5 members at the table and 2 in the audience, constantly shifting back and forth. I do feel that there's the opportunity for alternate members to stay current with what's going on. We do live stream meetings now, and those are available on the city's YouTube channel. All of our staff will, view those meetings after they happen. I think an alternate could certainly keep pace with what's happening there, and I think certainly this legislation through certain, I don't know the exact text, whether it's in there, but it could certainly be written in such a way that the members are asked to keep current with the current cases, and that's an expectation of their being an alternate member. I do acknowledge that most applicants would probably like to see the same board members for each meeting that they're presenting their case, but I think that they would, worse would be for them to have a setback in timing due to a meeting not happening because of quorum. So I think in that case, I can't speak for anyone explicitly, but my feeling would be that they would prefer to have the alternate step in rather than not have the meeting at all and have their case considered. In terms of what defines an absence, I think that, having the broadest interpretation of that possible here, I mean, there are, people do take vacations, people do have family issues to tend to. There's plenty of reasonable reasons that someone could miss a meeting. I'm not saying that everyone that misses a meeting every time the excuse is reasonable, but I think more often than not they are. And I would say, given the current situation, I mean, it's more often than not that we don't have a full set of members at the table for the meeting. A lot of times we have 4 or 3 members at a 5-member board meeting. And I think having more eyes on the project and voices at the table is beneficial rather than not. So I think having the alternates would provide an opportunity to do that. I think I addressed some of the concerns and just gave a general overview of what I thought were the advantages of this proposal. Happy to speak to any questions that you have, and again, happy to look into things further as well.
Okay, Councilwoman Zema.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks, Brad, for being here. I really appreciated your responses to Councilmember Conti's concerns, and I understood his concerns. They made a lot of sense, and so did your responses. Yeah, can we have some language that expresses the expectation that alternates are expected to be up to date on current applications? Is that possible? So at least we can spell out that an alternate.
I truly apologize. I wasn't expecting this, and I did read Richard's comments, and I did refresh my general sentiments, but I didn't actually go back and read the actual text of the bill. So
Yeah, that's okay. I was skimming through it to see if there was something specific. I didn't see it initially, but we should probably take a deeper dive. But I feel like spelling out that expectation of alternates might be helpful.
Just to add on to that real quick, I think there was a question of compensation that came up last time, and whether alternates would or should be compensated the same as regular members. And I don't know we had an answer to that question, so it's something for the council to consider.
Okay. What's my other question? You can come back to me. I can't remember my next question right now.
Okay. No problem. Councilmember Howie.
Thank you, Chair Ballerin, and thank you, Brad. When I first saw this morning, I'll be honest with you, I was like, oh my God. I was like, no, this is crazy. But, you know, I've had the day to think about it. I saw your responses to Richard, which I really appreciate that you took the time to get it out for our meeting tonight. I got a few things I wanted to ask you. How many meetings were canceled because of lack of quorum? So you have 3 boards. You have Planning, BZA, and Historic Albany. Roughly, you know, I don't need like exactly, but has it been a lot, or?
I did my best to try and piece together the attendance records prior to the meeting. I have a good bit of them. It's not perfect. From the planning board, it looks like for the past 4 years, it's about 1 per year that was canceled due to lack of quorum.
It's not that bad, but again, if it's an important project. One of the things I thought about on the drive over, and I don't know how you feel about it, could we have it where if an alternate comes in and they really don't know what the project's about, could they be just present for quorum so the other members can meet and discuss it, but the alternates don't vote? I mean, is that something that would be possible?
I'd have to defer to council on that one. I'd have to follow up. I don't
Sure,
know the
and
answer
we'll
to that.
follow up.
Yeah.
And again, my feeling with all these boards, I think I might have last time brought up about the financial incentives. We're asking people to do a lot these days, and in the old days, people would, you know, had time, you know, they could volunteer, but in our society today, I don't know about you, but the people I see, it's very hard to commit yourself to be on a board. So I think we got to do more, and I guess that would be during the budget process or whatever, that we should try to do more for people who serve on these boards. And my thoughts were with the alternates that, you know, if they attend a meeting, we could have it divided up that, you know, every meeting they attend, they get a certain amount, just to encourage them to come. And then if they have to sit in the position, you know, just to make sure that they do get compensated for that. You know, just, I think this is a good opportunity to be creative and to, you know, see what's going on. I'd like to know a little bit more about Troy and Schenectady that do have the alternates, what parameters that they allow the alternates to come in and talk. But I realize now, and it took me a while to realize that it's important that we have a meeting, that discussions take place. So whatever way we can do it, I think it's important, because even one a year, you have 3 different boards. If each one, that's 3 meetings a year. It's not good, and we need to keep moving forward. The other question I have for you is, and my last question probably, is Richard mentioned about training. Is there any way we can get into this legislation that, you know, you're required to have certain training for some of these? Historic Albany, I don't see as much, but I definitely see the planning board and also the BZA, that there should be some kind of, somebody comes in that, you know, that they're trained. Now, we had the other night, Paige come in, and, you know, I mean, that's what she does for a living. So, I mean, that we could bypass. But if somebody's like just, you know, they're a citizen and they want to, you know, participate, that we could provide training for them to make sure. It's just like with the CPRB, the Community Police Review Board, we require people to go through training because it just makes everything just a little bit better. So I don't know if that's something.
Yeah, I mean, it is, I don't know, it's technically a law. It's definitely heavily encouraged at the state level, and we could add it to our local code. I think the requirement applies. They're supposed to get 4 hours training of each year, the zoning board and the planning board.
Okay.
And they do, for the most part, do that. I think there is something that speaks to that being a consideration when they're up for reappointment if they've fulfilled their training requirement. So we certainly do keep track of that, and I would be totally supportive of codifying that in the local bill.
Sure.
That's something you want to do.
And how do you feel about what I brought about compensation? Do you think we should try to get more compensation? I don't even know what the members get paid.
I mean, I think if we're going to ask, I don't know the question. I guess, I think one thing that is difficult is to pay by the meeting that they attend, because they're
I
all,
meant just for the alternates,
yeah.
because that encourages them, you know, to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're going to ask them to fulfill all the obligations and to keep current with all the goings-on of the board, then compensating them would probably be appropriate.
Okay.
Maybe it's a lesser amount than the regular board members, but that's, you know, I think some compensation is warranted.
I'd really like to see the alternates come, even though they don't have, and to be part of the discussion. Could they come in as ex officios, where the, you know, if we have a full board there, and now we have two alternates, say, that the two alternates, you know, not to dominate the conversation, but be part of it, you know, sit there, but they don't get to vote, you know, unfortunately, but that's.
It's an interesting idea. You
Yeah.
could give that some thought.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, any additional comments or questions from committee members? Okay. So here's what I'm hearing, and just want to reflect back and make sure that that's what the committee is asking for. So the committee is asking for some more language to be spelled out that, you know, strongly encourages alternatives to attend every meeting, but at minimum must stay aware of all of the current cases. Is that the language that I'm hearing that we'd like to see added on?
Maybe some mix of what Councilmember Hoey was suggesting to make alternates more part of the process, so that if there is a permanent vacancy unexpectedly or something, that they would be ready, somebody be ready to fill that role right away. I think that's what you were kind of referring to, some way to that alternates are part of the meeting, the regular meeting process, are expected to attend.
So we want to say,
And generally, like you said, it's generally somebody who's interested in becoming a permanent member at some point, or potentially a permanent board member, or not permanent, but an official board member rather than an alternate, so they'd be expected to attend the meetings.
okay. So
However, as long as that is, we can get that technically correct.
okay, so so the expectation would be that an alternate member has the same training and expectations as a regularly assigned member. Is that fair? Yes.
And
Yes, Tom.
if we're going to go that route, the compensation should be the same,
Okay.
in my mind, that
I agree with that too.
if you're coming to every meeting, you're listening, and you might even be jumping in and talking, I think we can encourage the chairs to allow the alternates to be, you know, feel part of it. But the only thing that'll be different is if they come to a vote, they don't get to vote unless there's an absence where they're filling in. And I definitely want to see some way that we can make it easier, that if we have a permanent a person leave, that the alternate could just move right in. We could probably just do, you know, at a council meeting, just say, you know, this person's been serving as alternate, we want to make, you know, just pass it. I don't think there should be a long, drawn-out process. We meet every, twice a month, so I think that would really help keep the board fully staffed, if possible.
Okay, so Councilmember Adams, did you have your hand up? Okay, thank you. So just,
Mr. Chairman?
yes,
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can I ask if your opinion on what we were just suggesting?
Regarding compensation or regarding
Just
the,
making that an alternate would be expected to attend all the meetings, just like a regular board member without
I would be
the
inclined
vote.
to maybe see what the best practice is and see what other communities do. I think the one thing that's on my mind as we're talking about this is the Historic Resources Commission is larger than the other boards. So they already have 7, and I think part of the reason we reduced it from 9 is it was sort of a very large number of people for the content that's being covered. And in some cases, we have a little bit more difficulty finding qualified individuals for that board. So one point I may make that is we may want to look at maybe a slightly different approach for the HRC, but you know, I'm more inclined towards the zoning board and the planning board. I'm definitely open-minded about it, but I think before I made a recommendation, I'd be curious what other communities are doing.
So should we hold off? I know we want to
Yeah, no, I'm
get
trying.
moving.
I'm trying to clear the planning board committees, even though we just got added a whole bunch more. I'm trying to clear our deck. Look, this is one of the older policies we have, so I don't mind holding it a little bit longer. I'm trying to get an up or down vote on everything that we have on our committee calendar before the end of the year. I don't want it to just be dissolved.
Could it be added to the upcoming September
do that.
3rd meeting, and
We can
we'll
do
look
that.
into that and have you report back by then?
Okay, sounds good. So, I mean, I just want to make sure you get what members are saying, that they like. They'd like to have these alternates have the same training, the same pay, and the same expectation of responsibility. So if we can come up with wording, or if you can see what other communities are doing, then maybe we can get a compromise on this one.
Works for me. Thank you.
Okay. Any other items members want to talk about? No? Okay, well, thank you very much for coming today. We have our next meeting. When's our next meeting? September 3rd. Okay, so have a good Labor Day weekend, everybody. Thank you. Wait, motion to adjourn. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded by Councilmember Adams. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you, everybody.